Hello. Today we're going to look at a Torre Attack. The ECO code is D03. It's a correspondence game that I played on the IECG. I'll be playing white. My opponent is from Brazil. The themes we're going to be looking at will be the king in the center, a discovered attack, opening lines for attack, and the mating net. So let's get started. I'm playing white. These will be the usual moves for the Torre Attack in the opening. D4, D5, knight to F3, knight to F6, bishop to G5, that signifies the Torre Attack. H6, putting the question to the bishop whether he will retreat or exchange. I retreat to H4, knight to C6, knight at B to D2, G5, chasing my bishop away. I retreat to G3, bishop to G7, E3, E6, C3, and these are still normal moves for the Torre Attack in this opening, this variation. And now knight to H5. I don't fear this exchange where black wants to capture my bishop, because of course I'll just recapture with my H pawn and then have open file for my rook. And if black does castle to the king side, I'll just make my attack on that side of the board that much easier. So, game continued with bishop to D3, F5. Black's pushed his pawns up the board. He's made a lot of pawn moves to attack. This will eventually lead to a weakening of his king's protection. I played knight E5, and now you can see a discovered attack where my queen attacks the undefended pawn, the knight at H5, and which would give check on the king. Black obviously seen this, and he plays knight takes G3. I recapture with my pawn, but the threat still exists. I still have that queen H5 as a check. Black responds with knight takes E5, D takes E5, and now I've got the same threat with my queen going to H5 with check, but also after the bishop recaptures at E5, I'm going to bring my knight to F3 with the idea that I can capture this knight, this pawn later on. If he recaptures, I've got this rook, capture the rook here. It's just a theme that I'm looking at. It doesn't mean I will make this capture with my knight, especially with his bishop still able to recapture at H8. But it's something I'm looking at. It's just a tactic I see in the back of my mind that I marked out when I was planning this game. Black recaptures the pawn at E5. Now I play finally my queen to H5 check, and black plays king to F8. Now he's no longer able to castle. His king is going to be stuck in this unprotected area here with his pawns advanced. And I continue with my idea with knight to F3. He plays queen to F6. I get rid of his bishop at E5, and with that, what I want to do is bring my queen to G6, recapture this H pawn, or capture the H pawn with my rook, and make an exchange here, winning a pawn, or winning my pawn back, I should say. Black plays queen takes E5, and I played queen to G6. Actually, this wasn't really the strongest move on the board for me. A better move would have been G4, F takes, queen takes, and then king to G7. This would have been a slightly better move than the game move, because after I'd played queen to G6, black plays queen to G7, I retreat my queen, bishop D7, and now I castle long, with the idea that I'm going to now start pushing my kingside pawns forward, making some exchanges here, having my rooks behind these pawns aiming at the black king. Next move is B5. Now that I've castled queenside, black wants to start some counterplay. I played F3, and now C5, G4, like I said, I want to open up the king side for my rooks. c4, attacking my bishop. I retreat to c2. And now black played king to e7, which is a mistake. It's not a real big mistake, but it just moves his king into a more vulnerable position where it's easier for me to attack. Our move would have been b4. I would have made c takes b, f takes g, queen takes g, and rook to b8. And the position is pretty well equal. So back to the game. After I had played bishop to c2, like I said, black played king to e7. And here we're both, after the king to e7 move, both sides make some errors here. We don't make the most accurate move. e4, g takes f5 would have been a better move. But like I said, I played e4. He plays rook to a to f8, trying to neutralize possibly these open files I'm going to produce. If black would have played f takes e4, f takes e4, b4, e takes d, b takes c, again the game would have been equal. But that's not what was played. What played was, like I said, rook at a to f8. Now finally, I begin to find the correct moves, and I start a mating attack. I start opening up the position with e takes d5, e takes d5, rook takes d5. Now what I want to do is I'm going to bring my queen back to h2 and bring it to c7, bring my rook to e1 with check or to d1, and take advantage of these two open files now that I've got here in the center of the board. Black played king to e6, which makes my attack even easier. A better move, though it would not have won for him, would have been rook to f6, rook at h to d1, doubling my rooks, bishop to e6, rook takes b5, and bishop to c8. With still the idea I can still bring my queen back and bring it over on this diagonal for some to continue my attack. But black had played king to e6, played rook at h to d1, queen to f7, and now I begin a forced mating sequence. I'll go over the first the game moves, and I'll come back to a secondary mating sequence. I played bishop takes f5, king to f6. He could have played king e7, but it also leads to mate, which would be rook takes d7, king to f6, and rook at 1 to d6 check, and then queen to g6 mate. But the game move was king to f6. I played rook to d6 check, king to g7, and rook to g6 check with mate on next move. So let's go back to 26 move. I had played in the game bishop takes f5. Another mating variation would have been g takes f, king to f6, rook to d6 check, bishop to e6, rook takes e6, queen takes e6, queen to g6 check, king to e5, queen takes queen, king to f4, queen to d6, king to e3, and queen to d2 mate. So you can see that once that black king was stuck out in the center, I opened up those files. My mating attack quickly followed. Hope you enjoyed the game. I enjoyed bringing it to you. And until next time, thank you very much.